Greetings, friends. Prepare for another thrilling journey as we delve into Reddit's most bizarre tales. We're plunging deep into the quirkiest corners of the web. Grab your popcorn and join us on this adventure. Remember to hit subscribe and like. Let's begin. When my journey began, I was about 29 years old, and she was 23. We met at a party and instantly connected. Although we met through mutual friends, it wasn't a setup. Interestingly, we discovered that we had quite a bit in common, including the fact that she worked with my mother at the time. My mother had even mentioned her to me in an attempt to set us up. But I had a firm rule against setups, preferring to meet someone naturally without any preconceived expectations. Around this time, I was in the process of purchasing my first home. After dating for about a year, I asked her to move in with me. I already knew I wanted to marry her and was just waiting for the perfect moment to propose. As fate would have it, I had a business convention in New York City later that summer, and I thought it would be the ideal time to ask her to marry me. We got engaged on a beautiful evening at the top of the Empire State Building, and about a year later we were married. She had a full-time job that didn't pay particularly well, so she decided to pursue her master's degree. This led to her spending our first 3 anniversaries overseas in an immersive graduate program, allowing her to earn her degree without missing work. She was a teacher, and I saw this as a great opportunity to ease into married life. I was always very active during the summer with a deep passion for golf. Since the golf season where we lived was only about 5 months long, I took every opportunity to play while she was away. In the evenings after golf, we would talk on the phone. It was evening for me and morning for her, but we made sure to speak at least every couple of days. During one of our calls in her 3rd and final year of grad school, she mentioned that we needed to talk when she returned home. I immediately felt uneasy and asked if something was wrong or if there was anything I should know about. My mind jumped to the possibility that she might have strayed, so I asked if our conversation had anything to do with another man. She assured me that wasn't the case and explained that she simply missed talking to me and wanted to spend some quality time together to catch up on everything she had missed over the summer. I trusted her completely and believed her when she said there was no other man, so I tucked the conversation away in my mind, not forgotten, but on the back burner. When she finally came home, just as she had said, we spent hours talking and reconnecting. It was as though we were making up for all the lost time. With her overseas studies behind us, we could now start thinking about building a family. We were both thrilled at the prospect of adding children to our lives and creating memories we could cherish forever. Fast forward about 15 years, and by then, we had 3 children, 2 girls and a boy. During this period, we also faced health challenges that began to affect her. After a couple of years, she was diagnosed with epilepsy and needed surgery to remove the affected area of her brain. It was an incredibly stressful time, as the kids were young, and I was juggling work while trying to reassure her that everything would be okay. Fortunately, the surgery went extremely well. After several months of recovery, she was finally able to drive again and was excited to reconnect with friends. She started attending parties at a friend's house with her sisters. She almost always invited me to join, but honestly, I wasn't always up for it. Going to these parties meant getting home late, and then having to drive the babysitter back, which left me getting to bed even later. When I did go, I always enjoyed myself, reconnecting with a friend who worked in a similar field to mine. We would talk about work, sports, and enjoy a few drinks. One weekend, she was getting ready to go to her friend's house, and I noticed she was wearing new lingerie. I asked her what was special about that evening, and she explained that she was just tired of wearing old underwear and wanted to feel good about herself when going out. It made perfect sense. After overcoming a major health scare, she wanted to enjoy time with friends and feel pretty again. I understood completely. She then asked if I was planning to join her at the party, and I admitted that it sounded like fun and that it would be great to spend more time with her without having to attend to our kids' needs constantly. But she quickly reassured me that I didn't have to go if I didn't want to, mentioning that the party was going to be smaller with just a few girls hanging out, drinking, and talking. I agreed to stay home with the kids and let her have some time with her friends. By 2 a.m., she still hadn't returned home, and I began to worry. She wasn't answering her phone, and I feared that she might have had too much to drink and gotten into trouble. I jumped in my car and started driving over to her friend's house to see what was going on. As I headed down the street, I saw her car pass by, so I turned around and followed her back home. Once inside, I asked her what had happened. She explained that her phone had died, and she had lost track of time. I was upset and told her that it was irresponsible to stay out so late when we had young children at home. I worried about what could have happened to one of them, to her or to me. She insisted that I was overreacting and suggested we just go to bed. I was still angry the next morning, but I decided to let it go, thinking it was just an honest mistake, and life went on from there. Several weeks later, we were in bed on a weekday night. I had to work the next morning and was ready to sleep. Those of you with multiple children understand how exhausted I was after a long workday and managing the kids when I got home. She was often busy with schoolwork she brought home, so it was largely up to me to take care of them. One night, she was on her phone, texting someone, I assumed. She was giggling occasionally, and I asked her what was so funny. She said it was nothing, but I was curious and asked to see her phone. She said it was none of my business, closed her phone, and turned off the light. At that point, alarm bells started going off in my mind. I asked her if she was having an affair, to which she laughed and said of course not. Since I trusted her completely, I let it go but still felt uneasy. A couple of months later, we took a trip to Texas. By then, she was still going to parties with her friends, so nothing seemed dramatically different. We had a great time with the kids, but it was nice to be back home. Once we settled in, unpacked, started the laundry and so on, I went downstairs to my man cave to watch a bit of TV while the laundry went through the washer and dryer. She came downstairs and said we needed to talk. I was a bit annoyed because we had spent the last 5 days together and had plenty of chances to talk alone. I'm sure she noticed my annoyance, and then she dropped the bombshell. She admitted she was having an affair. It took me only 2 guesses to figure out who her affair partner was. It was my old friend from the party she kept going to without me. It was incredibly humiliating. I knew the guy well enough to understand that he was probably bragging about it to his colleagues and friends, which made me the laughingstock. I asked her to leave the house, but she refused, stating that the house was just as much hers as it was mine. I decided to leave instead, but she begged me not to go because she didn't want the kids to know something was wrong. I asked if there had been any other affairs, and she admitted that she had kissed a guy during one of her graduate summer programs overseas. I may be naive, but I'm not foolish. Considering her past behavior, it wasn't a stretch to assume that kissing might have meant more. I asked if she was planning to move in with her affair partner. Once I started piecing together all the subtle clues, I realized the affair had likely been going on for at least 6 months, if not longer. She told me that when she confessed to him about the affair, he broke up with her, and a tear rolled down her cheek. Whether it was due to shame or because he had used her doesn't matter now. I was in a complete spiral and decided to leave the house. I asked her how she could claim to love me while being so willing to break her vows. Her response was classic. I don't know if I ever really loved you. A true dagger to the heart. I left my home and soon after my marriage. My life is better now. I have good friends with whom I can play golf and drink beer. I have a great dog who sleeps in my bed almost every night. When one of my kids is home from college, she, the dog, sleeps with him. I guess I'm always second fiddle, lol. I've lost the future I once imagined. Growing old with my wife, spending more time with the kids, and enjoying retirement. That's mostly vapor now. I still see the kids, but my finances haven't recovered, and retirement seems like a distant fantasy now. Not for her, of course. She got the house and child support, leaving me to struggle to make ends meet every month. I've also lost all trust in women and decided that I will never again be in any kind of serious relationship with a woman. The cost is too high to consider, and I will never be able to trust a woman again. My life is better now. I have good friends with whom I can play golf and drink beer. I have a great dog who sleeps in my bed almost every night. When one of my kids is home from college, she, the dog, sleeps with him. I guess I'm always second fiddle, lol. I've lost the future I once imagined, growing old with my wife, spending more time with the kids, and enjoying retirement. That's mostly vapor now. I still see the kids, but my finances haven't recovered, and retirement seems like a distant fantasy now. Not for her, of course. She got the house and child support, leaving me to struggle to make ends meet every month. I've also lost all trust in women and decided that I will never again be in any kind of serious relationship with a woman. The cost is too high to consider, and I will never be able to trust a woman again.